getting caught up with Flash with Jeremy Adams, I can definitively say that Flash is by far my favorite comic out right now. Every issue since the end of the annual last year has just been supremely good, and I wouldn't say the first arc is bad. Just it's gotten better. Jeremy Adams has a clear love for Wally and his supporting cast. I even think that the Dark Crisis tie-ins are a little bit better than the actual event. We're talking about the actual book. There might be some minor spoilers. Try not to have out too many plot points. The issues I'll be talking about are 768 through 88 in the 2021 to 2022 annuals. First arc begins with Wally not wanting to be Flash anymore, traveling to a lot of points in time, including the future, World War II. He even trades minds with Reverse Flash and goes back to Heroes in Crisis. Something I do think is pretty funny is that I think Williamson and now Adams have made it that other events or characters are the reason why Heroes in Crisis happens, and not Wally just going insane. And a huge burst of energy, and a huge thing of energy just bursts out. Moving on to the next arc this is a two-parter with Heatwave, which is really good. Something I've always liked about Flash that characters like Batman or Superman don't do. Is Flash tends to have more of a friendly relationship with his villains. He actively tries to help his villains instead of beating them to a pulp like Batman does. I think Superman tries to do that. I haven't read enough to know. I think my favorite example of this is in the Justice League Unlimited show, where Flash convinces the Trickster to turn himself in just by talking to him briefly. I'll show up the clip.
James, you're off your meds, aren't you?
I'm better off without him. Take him if I start feeling down.
You know that's not how the medicine works. You're not well.
I'm fine. You want to throw some darts?
No. Listen, James, you're wearing the suit again.
I am? Well, what do you know?
Here's the deal, buddy. Tell me where those guys went, and I promise to come see you in the hospital. We'll play darts. The soft kind.
Okay. They're gonna ambush you at the Flash Museum.
See? That's all we needed. Come on, we better get over there.
What about your enemy?
Oh, right. Dude, as soon as you finish your drink, turn yourself in.
Got me again, Flash.
Now, if that was Batman, he probably would have been just dropped off the GCPD with half his bones crushed. I'm getting off track. 774 is just a really good father-daughter story. 775 is a story that has been told plenty of times. Everyone wakes up mad at the world, and now it's the hero's job to find out why. 776 is a really cool gimmick issue with Dr. Fate. I'm assuming it's Kent Nelson that's stuck Dr. Fate, but it might not be. They don't say. But the whole issue is changing the orientation of the book to affects what happens in the story. The end of that issue kicks off the Gemworld story arc, which is good. I think it's one of the weaker arcs, but still very good. Next tie-in the next issue was a tie-in for War for Earth 3. I can't comment on the rest of the story, but the Flash one is good. Search for Barry Allen is probably the darkest yet. It's not as dark as some other stories get in general of DC Comics, but compared to most of the rest of the run, it's by far the darkest yet. And I really like the shift between the two art styles. Consistently throughout the book, they're having multiple artists, but I can't really tell. And the shift between the more classic Silver Age artwork and the more modern day artwork doesn't really bother me as much as I think it would. I think it's kind of neat to change to a more Silver Age-esque style. The wrestling issue is good. That's 87, I believe. Had some fun action, but not much to it. And the newest arc, Rogues to Redemption, has been good, with only the first issue out and being what's most likely going to be a two-part story. The Rogues are now part of the law, and I think it's this issue and most likely some other stories that'll point to, if anyone asks, why are the Rogues even a threat to the Flash? Overall, I think the writing's absolutely fantastic, with the art being fantastic as well. There have been multiple artists, like I said, but again, I can't really tell there has been a drop in quality. I don't remember the name, but whoever does the cover art for the most recent issues, I love the way they draw the Flash suit. The main art for the 2022 annual was fantastic. The way they draw Barry, Arcel, I really like it. The best way I can describe this run is essentially just sort of like a Saturday morning cartoon. Very similar to stories like Batman the Animated Series. While there are stories that last quite a bit, most of them have been two-parters and one-shots, with the most going up to 5, I believe, with the first story arc. And I think the Gemworld story arc was 4? Or 5. I don't remember which one it is. It's also just a really fun book. Series events do play out, but it's just fun. It feels like a comic book. And I think that's something that's been missing from comics, especially DC, in a while. Everybody wants to tell this big, grand story that's building over the course of their entire run. Building to a big event that changes the status quo of the character for like a year. From what I can tell, Jeremy Irons hasn't really been alluding to anything. He is doing a big story arc called 1 Minute War, but that's in the main Flash book with a special. I think that's it. I don't think there's much more of that. Yeah. I've been rambling for a little long. But to wrap up everything, Flash by Jeremy Adams is by far my favorite comic coming out month to month. I'm extremely interested to see what he does with 1 Minute War. I don't know if he'll do anything with Thawne or Zolomon. I don't know what Zolomon's been up to, and I don't know what he could do with Thawne, considering what Williamson did with him at the end of his run. So, because Williamson gave Thawne a definitive end, at least I think he did. So, if you've read the Jeremy Adams Flash run, what do you think of it? So far, I will give his run a 9.5 out of 10. That's it. Thanks for watching.